But we have produced around 9.2 billion tons of plastic. This is the equivalent of 180,000 times the Titanic.
Roland, welcome to the IFA 2023 podcast. How are you doing today?
Thanks, great. It's good to be here. It was always my dream to visit the IFA. And today I'm 64, and that's the first time I'm here. So
it's your first IFA. How has it met, fulfilled, lost out on your expectations? I mean, that's a...
Well, I didn't find the time to see all the booths I would like to, but it's just overwhelming.
It's huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's unbelievably big.
Yeah.
And just the amount of things everywhere and people and the sensory element of it is pretty incredible.
That's definitely and what really attracts me is it's not the variety of products, it's the variety of opportunities. And there's a lot of technology just waiting for applications, and the market has to accept it, and then there's so much innovation. Yeah.
And I'm always a huge fan of one of my current focus points is unintended consequences.
Yes.
Right. When something's made and you think it's made for a specific purpose and then it ends up being something completely different. I think radar is one of the most famous ones where they were trying to make a weapon. It turns out to be something that allows us to position and make sure that the skies are free. And without that, we probably wouldn't have commercial aviation and making the world smaller.
Really. That's right. And even commercial aviation is depending on, it's a lot of strategical planning. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. So you need a lot of technology to bring the aircraft into the air and even to bring it down to the planet. So it's not the thing you see as a passenger in the aircraft. There's a lot of technology behind that, and it's always the question of technology. And I think technology can really heal the world and bring back some of the good things, but the time in between has to be filled with some dignity and some consciousness to find the right technology.
I couldn't agree more. So without getting any further in, for the people who might not know you, do you want to give a little introduction to yourself and what effectively your company MicroBubbles does?
Yeah, well, actually I'm a innovation-driven entrepreneur. So I would like to introduce myself, and I've been traveling around the world solving water problems and wastewater problems around the planet. I did about 350 projects across 50 countries, and it was quite hard projects in the Middle East, and I went to Syria, to Lebanon, and did some UNDP projects, and it just ended up with a question: who's going to pay for clean water? And if you see that we are 8 billion people on Earth, and almost approximately 50% of them, 4 billion people, do not have access to sanitary installations, and seeing that we treat wastewater and sewage like the old Romans did 2,000 years ago, and there has not been some remarkable innovation. We're just waiting, putting it into large ponds and waiting the particles to settle. And there's no innovation there because it's a very traditional and very, very starving market because nobody wants to pay for it.
Yeah. But so how do you go about solving something like that? And really, it's amazing. I had no idea that was still the... Yeah, you don't really think about that in that same way, right? That's been... static for so long.
It's definitely static, and see that our drinking water resources, we are just mining the planet. We are just taking groundwater, and this groundwater is just, partly it's million years old, and we're just mining it and don't bring it back and don't fill it up again, and so we're just using it, we're consuming it. And another thing is that 2 billion people do not have access to drinking water from taps. So
that a quarter of the planet, effectively.
That's right. And then we can open the tap and drink water in Germany and in Europe and in most countries. We know we can do that. But go to Spain, you can't do that. And go to other countries, you can't do that. And so you have to deliver water to the people in plastic bottles or plastic bags. And that addresses the problem. So if you have to drink 3 liters a day, which is in plastic bottles, around in plastic, it's 120 grams per day. Multiply this with 2 billion. And you don't want to know that figure.
Can I guess? It's very big.
It's very big, yeah. And since we started production of plastic on the planet, which was in the 50s, where we industrialized the plastic production, which I don't want to damn it. It's good if you are in a hospital, you wouldn't miss plastic. So it's good for mankind. But we have produced around 9.2 billion tons of plastic. This is the equivalent of 180,000 times the Titanic.
Yeah, you can't even, sometimes those figures, it's hard to even wrap your head around. You just need to take a pause of a moment. See, it's hard to even picture 180,000 of anything.
Wrapping is a good word to use because if Titanic is not the unit for disasters, we could produce a plastic wrap from 9.2 billion tons of plastic and could wrap the planet 5 times with it.
Again, so to comprehend just the scale of the amount of plastic that we're using.
Yeah, and about 70% of that material is gone. And it's not all in the ocean, but a lot of it is in the ocean. And once it's in the ocean, it's lost. We can't get it out anymore.
And why is that? Is that just we don't have the technology, or is it just becomes so intertwined? What's the rationale?
The ocean is big, and even that the material is quite distributed in the water. And if you want to, there's a big amount of water on the planet, and you can't purify that. And so we have to tackle the problem from the beginning, and we have to protect the oceans from waters coming in polluted with microplastic. And what we don't know, or what most of us don't know, is the majority of microplastic, which is plastic material smaller than 5 millimeters, is coming from tire run. And I think 2 kilograms of tire run a car per year. And multiply this with 61 million cars in Germany, and multiply this with, I think, 60 billion cars on the planet. You need a calculator when I'm done. But it's an amazing amount. And the water take off the plastic from the surface. So if it's rain, the water is draining into the rainwater, stormwater tanks. And from there, it's just going to the rivers.
So then how do you stop that at source?
Yeah, there are many people dealing with wastewater and water treatment systems who urgently demand a technology, and they say, wow, we need something. But you cannot just pump it out of the tank or out of the pump, treat it, and then repump it again. So it was a funny story. I was sitting one night in my home office, and suddenly my vacuum cleaner, my robot, started his cleaning, and he went into my room and was just moving around my feet and my cables, and I thought, why don't we put the treatment into the water? And I started constructing, and I started calculating, and made some design sketches, and suddenly it was clear how to go.
And what was the solution? What did you end up on?
Well, actually, I filed a patent and received the patent very soon. And in 2019, I introduced that idea to the German Federal Agency for Disruptive Innovations. And I was listening to a podcast one night, and the director, Rafael Laguna de la Vera, he's the founding director of the agency, he was telling about disruptive innovations and how disruptive innovations change the planet. An innovation like fire fire was not a big thing, but carrying the fire into your housing was interesting. Or printing books was radical innovations. Railroads, railways, the aircraft. That was an innovation where you can divide the world in a before and after the innovation. And Raphael was telling about innovations they were looking for that have a social impact, that have an environmental impact. And so I sit down and send them an email. And at the end of the day, after running a very, very, very hard process through the agencies, ways of selecting projects, I got a company. And today I have a team of 22 scientists working on that project. And it's as easy as it sounds, as complicated it occurs to be. But we have a technology that we directly put into water. So it's something, it's a self-swimming equipment, and we produce microbubbles. Mm-hmm. That's the name of the company. It is what it is. And microbubbles means that we are managing small air bubbles.
So then how would it work in terms of scale? So the next question is that you want to effectively put this, these devices into every water supply possible.
No, not the water supply. We were focusing on the rainwater and the stormwater tanks.
Okay.
And microplastic, the only positive thing microplastic really has, it's hydrophobic, so it doesn't like water and is highly attracted to tiny air bubbles. And when producing these air bubbles, they have a diameter of 30 microns, which is 1/3 of a human hair. We produce a very dense cloud of these microbubbles, and the plastic attracts the bubbles and is lifted to the surface. And from there, we just can skim it off and the water is clear. And so we are limitless. We can just scale it up until, well, it's endless technology.
So how does that need to happen? Like over the next few years, how do you ensure, because, we are, without getting too dramatic about it, time is shortening. How do you ensure that this technology, which could make this big difference, is in as many wastewater, storm, rainwater tanks as possible?
Yeah, we're just, where the technology is set, we manage to count bubbles. It's not as easy as it sounds, but we developed the world's first technology to count and measure the distribution and the size of bubbles in wastewater. And this is the key to control the technology and to maintain a quality of your separation process, which is mandatory for our project. And so we will scale it up. We will bring the technology into the market. We will not sell equipment. We just deliver the technology. We can give the blueprints to the countries who need it. And we just want to control it over the air. We just want to bring the operation system into the technology. And so we can maintenance and we can benchmark the efficiency of the technology.
Well, Roland, thank you very much for your time. That sounds like a phenomenal project, and I wish you all the luck and success in getting it done. And hopefully you and your team can be the people to solve the microplastic problem and move us into this new, healthier era.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. And again, a big thank you to Sprint, the federal agency, because they are so wise to see the big thing behind. And it's not a typical project for a venture capitalist or just. But we're creating business occasion and business cases one after the other, and we will all be able to launch them.
Well, that's the hope, right? To fix potentially a broken system, sometimes you need to work inside that system to get things done. And I really hope that it succeeds.
Thank you.
I think you told me just before that on average in a week we consume, were you saying 6 grams, a credit card?
One credit card,
a credit card size of plastic, and I'm sure that can be good for us.
Yeah, and then hopefully it's a payback card, so we can pay back what we use.
Thank you for your time, Roland.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.